So this double bass here is a typical example of the kind of instrument that was made around Manchester. So if I just sit it up a little bit, it's the typical viol-shaped model. So this sort of style was brought into Manchester by William Tarr and was later adopted by James Cole, and then Briggs also made instruments in this style. But you find quite a lot of other instruments that have been made in this style, obviously clearly influenced by the Tarrs, the Coles, and depending on how late they are, the Briggs. So you can see typical characteristics of these types of instrument. They've always got a very round bottom, like the shape of it is always very round, and the way it comes into the C's here. The sound holes on a bit of a slant, again, very typical. Choice of materials as well, looks very Manchester. And this back button, the sort of shape, the round shape of it, is very typical Tarr, Cole, Briggs, exactly what you'd expect to see, so purfled round. You find some German basses have back buttons like this, but they're generally much narrower. So this is very wide. We have been over the whole bass, given it a good sort out. We've done a new neck, and we've sort of been over the body a bit, bottom nut, setup, usual bit, new sound post, etc. The other thing that's very typical on these instruments, Manchester style, is you see the rounded bottom of the peg box here. So really old English instruments, or sort of old London style instruments, you know, from the early 18th century, tended to have rounded peg boxes, and they kind of kept that. So very typical Tarr, Cole, Briggs, you will see rounded here, and a little quite a narrow tongue. This particular one, again, is quite narrow volute. I would probably think that the guy didn't have great access to wood for the scroll, so he decided to use a board that was quite narrow. But it's got nice, typical, characterful example of a scroll from there. So yeah, this is a typical Northern English, Manchester style double bass, probably from 1860, 1870. So very nice instrument.